Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to my hobby blog. Today I'm so excited because the last 2 weeks or so, although I haven't done any One Piece videos outside of Sabayoti Archipelago, of course, I've been going a little slow through One Piece. And I've just finished, as of 2 days ago, maybe 3 days, not only Amazon Lily, but also Impel down. Impel down? Impale down? I don't know. But I absolutely loved these arcs. Impel down, I think, is my favorite arc yet. And that's a really high bar, because obviously One Piece is like 9 out of 10, in my opinion, like bare minimum. From like the very early arcs and on, it's just like fucking fantastic from beginning to end, but some arcs speak to me a lot more, and Impel Down is like, it was made for me, because way back in high school, I read Dante's Inferno, and I loved it, and I have no memory of the book anymore, but because it's just been so long, more than a decade at this point, but I remember just how much I loved it, and this entire arc is like such a fun nod to Dante's Inferno as Luffy is going down the 6 different levels and Dante is going down the 9 levels of hell, and it's very similar, sort of that journey that Luffy takes down each level, and each level is like a different element. There's like fire, there's ice. One of the levels is like a secret level with a bunch of like fun performer characters from Baka Land, I think it's called, or Mabaki Land, or Baki Land. I can't remember, I didn't write it down. But before we get into all of the fun that is Impel Down, let's go through Amazon Lily first. So, last time we talked, or at least last time I talked on this channel, we had witnessed Kuma just killing, very heavy quotes here. I did not believe they were dead. But the way that it was delivered, it seemed like everyone died. But everyone died in front of Luffy's eyes by Kuma. They all just kind of turned into bubbles and disappeared. Luffy is defeated at the end of this arc, and he is shipped off. And he lands on this island called Amazon Lily. That is all women. There are no men on the island. All of them have these awesome bows that are snakes, and we meet this really fascinating character named, let me make sure I have the first name right. The last name is Boa, but her first name is Boa Hancock. Okay, so her first name is Hancock, and her last name is Boa. So she is one of 3 of the Boa sisters, who are like the snake queens of this island. And I really, really enjoyed the characters, because there's nothing more fun to me than people using snakes as weapons. And it was just so much fun to see them use these snakes as bow and arrows. And it was just so much fun. It's just fun. I mean, that's really what it comes down to with One Piece, is as just fun. And just the history behind Boa Hancock is so fascinating, because we have this great fight between Luffy and her 2 sisters, Kikyo, and Marguerite, I believe is how you say her name. But Luffy is fighting them, and they both are defeated, but they are about to fall face down, and their backs are exposed. And Luffy covers it up, because it ends up that they're all slaves of the celestial dragons. And they have this red mark on their back that shows that. And the entire island, if they were to know that they were actually slaves, would probably kill Hancock. And I thought that was such an interesting, like, choice, I guess, for Oda to make, because I thought it was just going to be like a fun filler arc. But Boa, by the end of this arc, falls in love with Luffy, which I was not expecting. I was not expecting really any romance for the main characters, such as for Luffy. Sanji, I can see it. I think Zoro could. Who else? Book? I don't see him being in a romantic relationship. Maybe he will be later on. But I don't know. Like, this was such a fun, like, development, I thought. When Luffy realizes that Boa is kind of in love with him. Or maybe he doesn't realize it, but he sort of suspects something because she falls sick. And she's just completely out of the fight before they go towards Impel Down. And it's just so funny, like, sort of what she says, because she is so drawn to the fact that Luffy wants to save his friends, and so she decides to, like, help him as long as he swears to go up against the Celestial Dragons, because she finds out that he punched one in the face, and that's how all his friends got executed, seemingly. And so she offers to help him, and she's like, hey, put your arms around me and hold on tight, because I'm going to get you into Impel Down. And the arc begins, and we see her arrive at the island, or the prison island, of Impel Down, and she's like going through these many crowds of, like, Marines and all the locked up pirates that she passes within the jail itself. She goes through all these different people while Luffy is, like, just wrapped around her, just, like, waiting to get inside because there's no other way for him to go in. And it's revealed in Amazon Lily that Boa is actually an empress. She's one of the 7 warlords of the sea, which, as we've talked about, Blackbeard is one of them. Takanome, I'm trying to remember all these names. Of course, when I mention the 7 warlords, they all leave my brain. But Crocodile was one of them. So there's a lot of great appearances in the early section, because Luffy is being taken down each level, and during all this time, we are reintroduced to one of my favorite characters of the entire series, Buggy. He shows up again, and he is trying to get out of prison. He's been in there for a few months now. He has been trying to leave, trying to escape, but he keeps getting caught. And I absolutely love Buggy in this arc. It was so much fun to see him again. I love him. I love everything about him. I love him in the Netflix show as well. Like, Buggy the character is so much fun. Like, I just love his behavior. I love the way that he splits his body with his devil fruit powers. It's just so much fun. And it's funny because we start the arc with Garp and Ace talking to each other, which was a big mind explosion for me because we haven't seen them on camera, or not camera, but we haven't seen them on scene talking with each other face to face, just them. Because Garp is obviously Ace's grandfather, and Ace is Luffy's brother, and there's a lot of history going on that we, the viewers, know about. And Ace tells Garp that, yeah, Dragon is not my dad. I actually consider Whitebeard as my father. And that's just amazing. I love that. Whitebeard, I need a lot more of. I really hope we get more with Whitebeard. And Marineford, I know we will, because we hear throughout Amazon Lily, Sabaody, I believe, and in this one, that Whitebeard is getting ready to take on the world government. And we also have Shanks on the way. He finished a fight with somebody. Let me see if I wrote it down. But Shanks at one point, I think it's in episode 1 or 2. No, so we get news that Shanks has been fighting in the New World. Another mention of that. I really want to go there. I want to see what's there. And he's fighting in the New World against Yonkou Kaido. After he said he wanted to take down Whitebeard, is what Kaido says. And the Marines, when they hear this, they immediately head towards Marineford when they hear this news, because Shanks is a very powerful character, as we know. But some of the other characters that were reintroduced this arc is Jinbei, who is one of the Fishman Island people. He's one of the warlords. He's very powerful. He is the right hand of Whitebeard, I believe. I'm just looking at my notes, making sure. He almost killed Ace. It is revealed, and Ace almost killed Whitebeard at one point. He reveals that Fishman Island has been at peace, actually, because of Whitebeard. Because after the pirate era started, and Goldie Roger set everyone out to go find his One Piece, all his treasure, it ends up that Fishman Island was sort of this bottleneck where all of the pirates would filter through and try and find the One Piece. And so this island became very chaotic, and the Marines never stepped in because they were like, hey, like, whatever, like, the pirates can take each other out. Like, this is A-okay with us. Like, this is great. And then Whitebeard came in and was like, hey, like, we need, like, a better system for this. And he brings peace to the island. We don't know exactly what he does, but he said enough, is what we hear from Ace, is that Jinbei said enough, or Whitebeard said enough. Sorry, apologies. Whitebeard said enough, and the entire island died down in terms of violence. But the moment that he dies, everybody knows that the chaos will be back. So this is the stakes that we are having. War is going to break out between the world government and Whitebeard. And depending on the outcome of it, if Whitebeard dies, then that's going to be really fucking bad. So we have a lot going on. I'm really excited to see how that ends up. But we're also reintroduced to a character I did not care about at all. And that is number 3. I loved his wax powers, but after that arc, I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm done with Baroque works. You know, individually, I thought they were great. I loved number 0, who was Crocodile, and I loved, yeah, Crocodile was number 0. I'm going in my head, making sure I have that right. But, like, number 1 was a lot of fun. Number 2 was a lot of fun. Number 5 was a lot of fun with his bombs. Like, but I never wanted to see them again. Because I didn't really think they were that interesting to begin with. But, man, Bon Curry, however you say his name. Number 3, oh my god. This is, like, I've talked about before about One Piece, that Oda has this talent where he will introduce a character and he will sort of make you think one way about this character, and throughout the arc, your entire perception just completely changes 180. And Bon Curry is probably my favorite example of this in this arc, because he is not the candle guy, I've just remembered, but he's the face changer. Yes, he is the face changer. The candle guy was number 5, I believe. But, yeah, so Bon Curry shows up in this arc after Luffy and Buggy, who have teamed up now. They have teamed up, and they're trying to help each other get to Ace, because Buggy wants to get out of this prison, but he knows Luffy, and he knows that Luffy usually succeeds in what he sets his head out to do, and what he wants to put his heart towards. And so he's like, fine, I will help you if you help me get out. And Luffy takes him on, and they jump to the 2nd level. And who but Bon Curry is there, number 3, the face changer. And he comes in, and he's like, hey, I'm going to help you get to, not Shanks, but Ace. can you help me? And so all these villains that Luffy has been sort of battling with and trying to succeed over, like, they all gang up and they go down all the levels of hell, just as Dante does, and it is so much fucking fun. Like, this was my favorite arc, I think, I've seen since Skypiea. Skypiea was fucking incredible. But this one was just so much fucking fun. Like, I just loved it. I love the character also of Magellan, because he's one of the warlords. He's sort of the jailer, and he had this poison fruit, which allows him to spew poison. But a side effect of this, and it's really nasty, and I just cannot stop laughing over this, but anytime he takes poison to sort of beef up his powers, he ends up having the worst diarrhea. I was not expecting that. I knew Oda has a lot of toilet humor. Usually I don't care for toilet humor at all. I think it's very immature, but like, immature jokes I usually don't care for. I really love sort of dry comedy. I love puns. Like, all of that, and everything with Magellan was just so much fun. It was so comical. And I also really love the look of him with his horns, and he's purple and black, and he just looks so fucking cool. Like, he's the head warden. He's really cool. But, yeah, so level 2 is the Demon Beast floor, which is where all of the manticores, which are like these lion-faced, like, dogs or something. I don't know exactly the, I guess, combination of animals. But they also run into a giant sphinx, and Luffy fights them, and they're able to crash through the floor after finishing the Sphinx. And it was so fun to watch that fight, because I love the Sphinx. I love cats, obviously. I'm a big cat lover. And it was just so much fun to sort of see Luffy fighting this Sphinx. It was just a lot of fun. But level 3, we are introduced to a woman named Sadie, who loves torturing. And she is the security chief. And she is such a fascinating character. I don't really know what to think of her, because she's just fun. Like, I don't really have anything else to think or to say about her. I just thought she was really fun as a character. But during this, I think it's Magellan talking to Ace, but he turns into like this liquid poison triple dragon. He sort of becomes like Ghidorah from Godzilla, where he has 3 dragon heads and they're made of poison, and he poisons like all of the prisoners in order to poison Luffy and Ace and sort of stop everyone from trying to get to Ace. And that is a really disturbing scene, because the moment that you are touched by this poison, you're immediately put into a lot of pain and torment, and you are going to die. And it's around level 4 when we're in the big fiery hell pit, which heats a giant cauldron that's filled with what's called the Pool of Blood. This is my favorite level. I love this level. Aesthetically, I love flames. I love the giant cauldron. I love the name of the Pool of Blood. Like, it's very heavy metal. I loved it. So much fun. But during this part, Luffy is fighting Sadie and the demon god Zones, who are sort of driving a lot of people crazy. There's just a lot of fighting going on. It's just a lot. I binged it, so a lot of details are not sticking with me right now. But again, this is my favorite arc, I think, yet. So everything that was going on, like I was in heaven. I was happy. I was happy for once in my life. But during this time when they're fighting Sadie, Magellan shows up. And he's like, hey, Luffy, stop it. I'm going to poison you and you're going to be in torment and you're going to die. And so he poisons Luffy and we get this really incredible fight between the two of them. And Luffy hits Magellan in the chest, which coats his arms in the poison. And after that happens, he is dragged down to level 5, which is the ice level. So hell has frozen over, as they say. I just wanted to use that pun. But during this time that Luffy is being dragged down into level 5, number 2 and Buggy and number 3 are all rescuing the prisoners, as Luffy is sort of clearing out each floor of all the villains. And we hear about this demon pool thing, which causes prisoners to disappear. And it's during this time that I think it's number 2, he finds the Okama Queen, whose name is Ivachno, I believe, or I called them Eva. They're this genderless singer who is secretly running like a dance studio, not dance studio, but it's like an inn, I guess. It's like an inn, yeah. They are running an inn that is like in between floors 5 and 6. And no one knows about this floor 5.5, level 5.5. And Eva has just sort of been stealing food, stealing whatever supplies they needed, and taking the prisoners that almost escape or are almost taken, and rescues them. And number 2 finds this level, and he's like, hey, like, can you please help Luffy? Because, like, he is dying to this poison. And it is so fun. This character is so funny because they are constantly singing and changing the gender from man to woman to non-binary, and it's so fun, like, to see that representation, especially when thinking about when this arc was airing or being written, because this was in the mid-2000s. Like, even today, it's really fucking hard to have any representation with non-binary people, let alone trans people or just anyone who's non-hetero. Like, even, like, it's just so nice to see this character, like, being done in such a fun way that's not turning them into a joke and just pointing at them and how weird and funny and comical it is. Like, they give this character so much respect. Like, Oda, I mean. And it is so refreshing. So that's my point there. I'm so happy to see this character. But they have this really fun winking power that they got from a devil fruit. Which I think the devil fruit is... what's it called? I wrote it down somewhere. A hormone devil fruit. So that's how they're able to control sort of the, I guess, identity changes. And it is so funny to see them because when number 2 first meets this character of Eva, they turn this, like, mean, like, pirate from a man into a woman, and this pirate is completely humiliated, and he runs away, and Mr. 2 is like, hey, like, can you help my friend? Like, you're amazing. Like, I would really love your help. And they agree to it, and it's amazing. And I just really enjoyed that. And let me see. So we get a lot of lore. I don't know exactly, like, I may have missed something. Maybe this was describing Eva, but Luffy is discovered to have been locked up into a cell with a giant lock by Eva, because she reveals that basically she has the power to heal him, but he has to basically endure the pain of it. Because, as I said earlier, Magellan's poison is very painful. It's just constantly just putting you through torment. Like, it's pretty heavily laid on about how painful this is. And we get a lot of lore about this character of Shiryu, who is the torturer, Shiryu of the Rain. And it's mentioned that the most fearsome woman in history of piracy is named Katarina Devon, who controls the great ship San Juan Wolf. I don't know who any of these people are really yet, but I wanted to write that down for the video. So this is me saying it. I don't know who these people are. They're really fascinating. I can't wait to know more. But Luffy does recover, and he demands tons of food. And Eva is like, yeah, that's fine. Oh, by the way, I'm allied with Dragon. And my brain exploded, because I've been wanting a lot more information about Dragon, like, for a very long time. And we're finally getting it, because Eva is Dragon's, like, co-captain. And they work together, and so I really need to see them, I guess, link back up with Luffy, so we can get some really fun scenes. But, yeah, we get this really big Marine speech around this point, where it's talked about that Ace is going to be taken to Marineford, and it ends up that Luffy misses the boat, so Ace has escaped his grasp. He is not able to rescue Ace just yet. I thought he would this arc, but that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm very happy that Marineford is going to be such an explosive arc, because not only do we have Ace needing to be rescued, but we have the entire war going on between the Marines and also Whitebeard. A war is about to break out if it hasn't already, and I am so excited to see it later. But it's really fun, because during this arc we're introduced to a really fun devil fruit guy named Inazuma, who has like a scissors devil power. And there's a point in the arc where he runs up like a spiral staircase, like that's, you know, filled in on all sides, and he runs up in a spiral with his blades, and then it all just falls. And I really, really love that scene, like how it was animated. It was so fun. I love that power. I can't wait to see him even more. So during all of this, Crocodile is also in Impel Down, and I knew that going in. I knew Crocodile was in here because it's mentioned later on, like, oh, he's in Impel Down. You guys may see him again, you know, be careful. And Luffy runs into him, and Crocodile is just kind of like, yeah, I don't give a shit anymore. He's like, I just don't care anymore about anything. I want to get my revenge against the Marines. Alabasta, like, whatever. VV can rule it. I don't care anymore. Can I join you, Luffy? And I was so fucking excited, because this was such a fun section of the arc. I really loved the final few episodes, because Crocodile, Jinbei, and Luffy, all three of them, are grouped together now, headed towards Ace, and they're going to try and rescue him. And while that's happening, Eva and all the freed prisoners are trying to make a plan to rescue the rest of the prisoners. And Mr. One also joins Crocodile during this part. But towards the end of the episode, we get Blackbeard again. And he is out of sight while scenes are happening approaching Marineford. And at one point, he uses Darkness Fruit to open the gate to Impel down. And Shiryu is immediately freed, and he uses a really nasty sword. And we get this really cool sort of scene where he's unsheathing the sword, and it's like red, and there's like lightning like going off everywhere. It's like really cool. But he meets Blackbeard after that, and Luffy and his friends defeat the demon gods, and then they run into Blackbeard after that. And Blackbeard is like, hey, I ate with you in Jaya, like, how you doing? And Blackbeard is like, yeah, so actually, like, when I heard you killed Crocodile and there was like this mad scramble to find a new warlord, I really wanted to kill you. I wanted to track you down and kill you, Luffy, because that means I could have been promoted into warlord. And it's during this time that he realizes that Ace has been captured. And so he's like, hey, like, I was responsible for that. I should be warlord. So he's given warlord. So he's like, yeah, whatever, like, I'm going to basically suck you into a giant vortex that's made of shadows, and you're going to die. And Luffy is like, what? Like, no way. Like, I'm going to kill you. And Luffy charges in, and Jinbei gets in the way and is like, no. You are too weak. You cannot fight him. This is not the time and place for this. Let's go. And then they leave. And I'm like, what? Like, because I knew he was going to lose if he fought Blackbeard, but I really, really wanted to see them fight. So that has been bookmarked for later. We will see that later, I guess, in Marineford. But, oh my goodness, what a crazy, crazy 2 arcs. Like, and we haven't even gotten anything with the other characters, which I did write notes on about what we last saw them doing. So during all this time that Luffy is at Maiden Island, I think they call it, Nami is on Sky Island called Ratheria, I think, or Ratheria. And Frankie is on Winter Island. Peachy Island, which is the Island of Dreams, which is the second Maiden Island filled with women, and also female animals, is where Sanji is. So he is very happy to be there. Usopp is at an island of insects, and he meets a character named Heracles. So I'm very curious to see who that is, if it's based on Hercules. I assume so. But we also go to the land of poverty, and Brook is there, and he's being worshipped as like Satan, with this very like Satan imagery, and I love that. I fucking love that. I'm a big Brook fan. I'm a big Satan fan. Like, all of this is really fun. Nika Robin is at the land of bridges, and she's going to help build a 700-year-long bridge project. So everyone's sort of just scattered to the winds. Chopper's at the East Blue Torino Island, and he's sort of being messed with by giant birds. And then he wakes up above a boiling pot. Muggy Island is where Perona is, who is the first person that Kuma disappeared, and she is with Zoro. So we shall see what ends up with that, but oh my god, this arc has just been incredible. I love One Piece. Obviously, it's my happy place, and I just would really, really love to like chat with someone about the series on the channel. Like, it would be so fun to just talk about this series with someone else. So if you're still watching to this point and you know of anyone or you want to even talk to me about One Piece, please comment below and let me know, because it just seems like so much fun and I would really like to do that. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and please have a great rest of the day.